Keeper or hi gang, and welcome to Grow Make Cook. This week I am tending to my tomatoes. They're growing fast in this spring weather, but I have to do a little bit of maintenance to stop them really from getting sick and falling prey to fungal diseases again this year.
Bok, I'm Mandy O. This is Grow Make Cook and welcome to my garden. I grew up in Australia in a permaculture family, but after we got married, Mr. O and I moved here to his home country of Croatia. I am a passionate and hands-on homemaker and gardener, and I love life's simple pleasures. So join me on my journey, and together we can learn to grow, make and cook.
This is the second week in June, or ripen. These leaves that you can see I've got here and that I'm cutting off are only from the low down sections and anywhere that's covering the tomatoes. But this looks like tomato wilt virus, and so I'm trying to get it under control before it becomes a serious problem. Now, last year we had terrible luck with our tomatoes. We got a bit at the beginning, but about halfway through the season, everything got blight and we lost all of our tomatoes. So this year I'm being a little bit more strict. Last year I just used tomato cages and I grew bush varieties. This year I'm growing the same variety and a couple of new ones, but I'm training them as standards, which means I'm tying them into a stake and I'm clipping out these little growths on the sides. So you can see here that there is a new shoot, and I've left it quite long, but a new shoot poking up between the leaf and the main stem. And so what I'm doing is removing all of those side shoots that want to grow off and make, well, more tomato plant, so that there is a lot more air and light getting in around the fruit. Now, I am taking a lot of leaf off with that, and it does need these leaves to feed the tomatoes and to grow tomatoes, but we've lost too many tomatoes last year and the year before for me to not take some serious action to try and ensure that we get a decent tomato harvest this year. Yum. This area down here is really starting to come together nicely. The daylily that I planted, they're spectacular, and I'm loving this. I can't wait till it bulks out and fills this area. And I'm loving the way this delphinium flights up. It should get a little bit taller yet, but it flights up like this. I think it's so dramatic. I'm gonna have to mulch around that to stop this coppetifers spreading down into the garden though, but this and this are just bringing me so much pleasure. I love the bright contrast. But the other thing that is starting to really do well down here in the cottage garden is my edibles. So I've planted a whole lot of these, the little forest strawberries or shumska jagoda, and the black currants are just starting to shoot up. I'm so proud and glad of this little bush that's growing up nicely, and I can't wait till it echoes the ones I've got on the other side, and then I'll have this lovely great big sweep of shrubs along the front. It's coming together. I do adore this smell. I have been taking the dead and dying seed heads from my chamomile here, and I'm sprinkling them into my garden. I've had very little luck with this method in the past, but I'm hoping now that I've got a lot of the weeds under control down here in the garden bed, that I'm going to have a little bit more luck with establishing things that will sow themselves in the future. So here's hoping. Well, these guys have been well watered. These are my rockets, which we started the other day, just about, 2 weeks ago, when we noted that the rocket I was growing from last year had gone over into seed. So I'm just trying to separate them out because actually I think every seed in this pot came up and most of the others didn't come up at all. So I'm just gently trying to tease them apart, keeping as much root on it as I possibly can. And I'm just going to plant them out here in amongst all of my other bits and pieces. So I'm making a bit of a mixed bed here this time. These are my Jerusalem artichokes, which are super exciting. In America they call them sunchokes, but that's something I've never grown before. So I'm super excited to see these guys coming up. And I know I'll probably get a flood of comments of people saying, oh, they can be really invasive, be careful. But I've planted them here for a reason, and that is that these bricks are all loose. And so if I need to, I can just take the whole corner apart, demolish it, take all the soil out, dig everything out if I have to, in order to get them under control later. So this is a bit of an experiment in seeing how they go here, but hopefully they'll just give us lots of lovely Jerusalem artichokes to eat. Yeah, they're starting to come apart now. This is really a bit of a tangled mess. I should probably have planted them out weeks ago now, but they were too little. So what I'm doing is I'm just gonna pop them in like this, kind of scattered throughout this spot here. So I've got the golden sunrise tomatoes and the Jerusalem artichokes and some blitva, some salads that have gone over. So the idea of this bed is kind of a happy jumble, and thus far I seem to be succeeding in creating a jumble. Let's just see if it comes out happy. And the last thing that I'm putting down in this garden bed, today at least, is some pak choi. This I grew from seed and all of those normal lovely things, and it's starting to shoot up a little bit oddly already, so I'm popping it in and we'll see what happens. I'm burying it a little bit deeply because the stems have this very thin bit at the bottom that still looks like root that's come up above the ground. So we'll see how this goes. Hopefully they do something, but they already look like they're starting to try and make flowers. So I'm a little bit worried that these guys have been too stressed when I planted them, and maybe I don't know, I've done something wrong. I haven't watered them enough while they were very young or something. But they all seem to be trying to grow up too fast before they've really made very many leaves. So we'll get these guys in and hopefully we'll still get a bit of a crop from them, because Asian vegetables are quite difficult to find here. What we're doing here is making a water tank for the runoff from our roof. There has been so much that's changing and becoming a little bit more unstable in the world, and the cost of living here in Europe it's really skyrocketing. So anything we can do to become a little bit more self-sufficient feels like a really good idea to me. Our design for the tank here is quite simple. We've gone with a 4 meter by 1 meter, a little bit over a meter wide slab at the bottom, and then we've just got brick on the inside all the way up, and we've poured concrete to a little bit wider than a brick all the way around the outside anywhere it's below ground. Because this tank is on a slope, in fact our whole property is on a slope, but because this particular tank is on a slope, we have submerged a bit more than half of the volume of the tank in total underground. this will help with the freezing in winter so that we don't have to empty it quite so soon. And also we will have it backfilled at the top. So we'll put a garden bed along the top edge, and then on the bottom edge it'll just be at a nice height to use as a bench. The plan for this area is starting to really come together. So we're leveling off a bit of an area here, and this is where I'm going to put all my lovely pots. I can't wait to bring my chilies out and all sorts of things. So this is quite exciting. We're leveling it, we're adding the rubble, and then we're going to put crazy bricks, so all the little broken bits of brick that don't quite work as a regular brick, we're going to use to pave this area. I'm quite excited about all of this. And I think that's probably about all we have time for today. So thanks for watching. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe using the link down below. And if you want notifications, use the bell icon. If you like what we're doing, please remember to like the video. And until next time then, do widzenia.